playing great basketball.
Defender to the basket, Jason Tatum.
Be covering pre and post game back on this channel.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back in to Celtics Postgame Live. I am your host, Rob Haytayan. Joined with me is my co-host, Justin Lowe, special guest, Jack Bienvenu, and joining us later on is co-host Ian Angel. The Celtics drop yet another heartbreaking loss at home to the New York Knicks, 131-129. This one was in double overtime on national television. The Celtics led by as many as 15 points in the third quarter, followed by a 21-2 Knicks run, then followed by a 17-4 Celtics run, which eventually led to overtime, and then the Knicks squeaking this one by. Knicks winners of the past 9. Celtics fall 2 straight. Guys, we got a lot to talk about. Obviously, let's go through the box score. Tatum, 40 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. Behind him was JB. He had 29, 8. He had 4 steals. JB shot all right. Al had himself a game, 20 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists. Justin, you know the deal. Your thoughts, your reactions, your takeaways from yet another heartbreaking Celtics loss.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. Usually I'm probably the most positive one out of the group. At least I try to be. I'm not going to be that tonight. I'm going to be honest with you. I would not go into full panic mode, but I'm just about there. I'm just about disgusted at the efforts that I've seen. Again, I just want to put it out there. I can never do what they do on the court. I'm grateful for what they do on a night-to-night basis. And again, I could never do what they do, but I am sick and tired of this 15 points, and I'm sure it's easier said than done, but there's something. There's got to be something. And you know what that something is? It's the lack of effort that the Celtics have. And that is an issue, and that's going to be an issue against teams like Brooklyn we might see in the first round. The New York Knicks, who we're almost guaranteed to see in the second round if they get by their first round, and if we get by our first round. Like, these are teams the Celtics not only should beat, they can beat. But it's the lack of effort. It's the on and off switch that they tend to pull. The Grant Williams situation? The Grant Williams situation? Are you shitting me? I don't swear, but Grant Williams, are you kidding me? This is embarrassing. And I don't like to use that word because, again, I could never do what they do. I could never call another man's work embarrassing. But what I've seen the last 2 games, this is on ESPN. This ain't like our little local national TV games where they're hidden in the NBA. No, this is the New York Knicks. You were up 15, the hottest team in the league, a chance to end the losing streak, a chance to tie the season series with the standings tightening up. That is absolutely huge. The Milwaukee Bucks are starting to run away with first place. You're home. This is a game you need to win. This is a game you should have won, and you didn't. You go out, and they dogged it. They absolutely dogged it. They lose 131-129. Al Horford, if we didn't have him, we would have lost by 40 tonight. Ian, why don't you give your thoughts before we take it to Jack? Because, I mean, unless I said it all.
I don't know
Yeah,
what the fuck's going on with this team. I'm swearing.
Oh, my God. All right. There we go. We're good.
I think his mic went mute.
Yeah, your mic went mute. All right, well...
Why don't we kick it? Why don't we see what Jack thinks
let's
about this game while
Jack,
Ian tries to figure out the mic?
I mean, how many threes did Jason Tatum shoot tonight? 17, 18?
Like 20. Jesus
17.
Christ.
You're not
he was
Steph
playing my
Curry.
career.
17. Nobody and Steph Curry should be shooting that many threes in the game. And we like the numbers, it's like the final box score doesn't show how bad of a game Jason Tatum actually
How many
plays
threes
tonight.
did he shoot? Was it 60? Did we get the 60 mark?
I can give you numbers.
I don't know.
59. We were one
probably.
shot.
That's crazy. It's like
And what did Smart
like,
shoot?
Smart shot 3 of 11. So here's all right, Jack. We got to let Jack. We need to hear what you have.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team. I don't care if we don't have Rob. I don't care if we don't have Brogdon. I don't want to hear that. We are be the best team in the East, if we're supposed to be the best team in the East, we got to beat these guys by 15 at least in our own building. Big bounce back game. Milwaukee just lost, so the Celtics should see that and say, all right, guys, we're going to stomp these guys by 15, 20. And then they lose in their own building to the Knicks without Brunson. Didn't even have Brunson. And they embarrassed us tonight. And I'm with you, Justin. I'm not fully panicking yet, but that it's starting to set in that we are playing our worst basketball at the worst possible time.
And look, I'm going to sit here as a Celtics fan, division rival. Give the Knicks credit. These guys are for real. This isn't just a win streak of the Knicks. The Knicks have been tough. The Knicks have played the Celtics tough for quite a while now. This isn't like New York owns Boston, Boston owns New York. Like, this is just two really good teams playing against each other. New York won. Boston lost. I mean, this was ridiculous. Boston lost the game for themselves. Hey, give the Knicks credit. Give Quickly credit. Quickly played awesome tonight. I'm not here to discredit what Quickly did. It was just so annoying seeing him showboat after every freaking basket. I mean, he's one of the most inconsistent players in the league. Yeah. But, I mean, you got to tip your hat. You can't make excuses. They didn't have Jalen Brunson. I understand that we did not have Malcolm Brogdon and Robert Williams, but this is a game the Celtics should have won. You were up 15 in the third quarter. Julius Randle, I don't swear, Julius Randle kind of bitched the Celtics tonight. He got what he wanted. RJ Barrett was being aggressive all night. The Celtics didn't match that. Even when the New York Knicks gave up that, I guess, run that the Celtics went on in that fourth quarter, it still felt like the Knicks had control of the game. The Celtics never really copped that feel that they were going to really get over the edge and win this game, and that's an issue. And I don't know what it is. These last two games, letting New York come into Boston, these last two games, two of the biggest games of the season for the Celtics, and they stomped the Celtics. They really, really stomped the Celtics. And I don't know if it's an ego thing. I don't understand, guys.
Ian, you can take this one.
Can you hear my mic?
Yeah.
That was bullshit. That was bullshit. I mean, the fact. I think the.
Oh my gosh! Did he cut out again?
All right. Well, shoot again, Ian. All right. Well, I haven't gotten a chance to say what I need to say.
Yeah.
So essentially, this is a game in which if it was game 40 and the Celtics were winners of 5 straight, and we haven't been playing how we have been playing, it's a game that you live with. Knicks are hot. Celtics didn't shoot necessarily great. But given the circumstances and how poorly the Celtics have looked, and not how poorly they've looked offensively, it's just their body language. Something's up. It's something, they're not in a groove. It kind of looks like they're bored or something really isn't right with the Celtics right now. You saw confusion at the end of that last play, double overtime with Grant Williams. That's a whole other conversation. Grant, they couldn't get their sets right in the game-winning play to go into double overtime. We didn't get the ball into Tatum's hands until 3 seconds left. I mean, this was a game. I get it. No Rob, no Brogdon. Not an excuse. Knicks without Brunson. So it's this is a game that you had to win. Milwaukee's getting hot. You were a whole game back from that first seed that you've held all season long. Up by 15 at home after just previously blowing a 28-point lead at home on national television. You go on to blow a 15-point lead at home on national television the next game. That is where my problem comes with this Celtics team. The talent is there. The skill is there. It's all about if this team wants to win. And something that I have to look at is coaching, in his play style. Is shooting 53s a game sustainable? I don't think it is. It's not a sustainable way to win basketball games. It never has been, and I don't think it ever will be. Tatum, at no point, he is 6'10", 100 or 200 and probably 35, 240 pounds. he needs to be getting to the basket. In no world should he be shooting more 3-pointers than 2-pointers. Tatum is at his best when he is getting to the basket and getting to the free throw line. That didn't happen in the last 2 overtimes in 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. And that is where my problem lies with how the Celtics are playing. It's not just they're losing, it's how they're losing it. It's their body language. It's the blown. It feels like we're in December of 2021 of last year. And it's been over 90 plus games since we've seen this. So am I pressing the panic button? No, not yet. I still think we can do this. I still think that we have the team and the roster and the coach to get this thing done. However, I think a couple things need to be tweaked here, and they need to be tweaked fast because tomorrow, right now, this team has to hop on a plane, fly out to Cleveland to play yet another tough game. Top 5 seed, the 4th seed right now, Cleveland on their home court. So it's like this isn't getting any easier for Boston. They have to focus up. They have to lock in. I would imagine we'll be without Al Horford tomorrow night and Robert Williams. So
and
the
maybe
Celtics,
Smart.
and maybe Smart. So tonight was a must-win game. But if you drop tomorrow night, then I think we officially have problems. That is then I'm being like, all right, what's going on?
And another thing I really want to talk about is I was watching the press conferences after the game, the Brooklyn game, and someone asked Tatum what were the feelings in the locker room, were there any anger, any I'm sure it was anger, and he's like, oh no, we're not really mad about this, we're not really pissed, and it's how are you not pissed that you blew a 28-point lead at home? It's these guys really have to come out and change their mentality. I feel like Missoula really has to put something in their heads to just, I don't know. It's just
it kind of feels like last year it was their demeanor almost, that they had this chip on their shoulders that they played with. I thought the defense in the fourth quarter, last 5 minutes, was phenomenal. Oh my God, we got all the stops in the world. The problems came on the offensive end, which is concerning because that was a last year problem. I get it. No Brogdon, you're missing, but again, they have no Brunson. So you have to play with what you have. And tonight we didn't shoot well. We were stagnant, and it's concerning because I didn't think we had this in the tank, this little December 2021 Celtics. And it kind of feels like for some reason the All-Star break and that week off let the Celtics just completely forget everything they had worked on in the past year and a half, getting back to the championship contenders that they still are. But it kind of feels like we took 2 steps back over All-Star break. We have to take 5 steps forward in a very short amount of time before the playoff starts if we want to do this thing, because again, we're not out of the 1 seed race, but we're a game and a half back, and you got a game against Milwaukee, which is about in a month. I want to say end of March. That could be for the 1 seed. It's like you have to. This is the most important game, Justin, right? We've been saying that. These are the most important games of the season, and you look terrible. And you're not mad about that.
It's certainly a body language thing, and it's certainly something that the Celtics can fix. The Celtics know they can fix it. I remember Brogdon saying a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, actually, the Celtics suffered a bad loss. I forget who it was against, but Brogdon said, we know, what we needed to do. It's an effort thing. It's so apply that same effort into these goddamn games. I mean, the effort is that Celtics so clearly go off and on. They so clearly turn off the switch. They play. They pick and choose the possessions they want to play. It's so clear. It's in the game. Go just watch the game, and that is not going to cut it. And I'll tell you right now, that's not going to cut it in the playoffs, and that's not going to cut it when you're fighting to get into the playoffs. In terms of you're not going to slip out of that 2 seed. That I really don't think that's a possibility. But at the same time, you need to fight to stay alive. You're fighting that 1 seed with Milwaukee. These are the games you need to win, especially if you're up 15. And another thing before I let Ian talk, because poor Ian's mic keeps going in and out. It's the fact that we talk about all the time. It's how we respond, right? It's okay. Celtics dropped the 28-point lead. Damn. All right, on to New York. Let's see how we respond. Celtics didn't respond any better than they did against Brooklyn. They absolutely they shit the bed. They did once again, back-to-back games. Ian.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're loud and clear.
All right. I don't know what's going on with this team. It feels like there's a sense of arrogance, and this feels exactly like the 2021 team. Like, it feels like I don't know if Joe has lost the locker room. I don't think it's that far yet, but it's getting to that point where it feels like the players just don't care right now, and it's really frustrating. The 15-point lead, I don't even know if I'm mad at the 15-point lead being blown, because at this point, any lead in the NBA can be overcome. So I don't know if I'm as mad at that. I'm more mad at the fact that the Celtics in both overtimes, shot 4 for 14 overall. Jaylen Brown was 0 for 3, 0 for 2 from 3. Jason Tatum was 2 of 6, 0 for 3 from 3. Smart was 1 for 1. Horford was 1 for 2. And Grant was 0 for 1. It was just an absolute – I mean, you guys did absolutely nothing. And even when you made shots, you didn't do anything on defense. You didn't even try on defense. That was the thing that was starting to piss me off, because you're supposedly hang your hat on as a defensive team. That's what you hang your hat on, supposedly. And guess what? You're not going to win games all the time with your offense. And if you're not going to guard anybody, what's the point of even trying at this point? I don't know. It was just super frustrating. And the fact that you didn't even try to make an adjustment for Emmanuel Quickley in the entire game was even more frustrating. Like, you just let Emmanuel Quickley do whatever he wanted. Like, you didn't even try to throw an extra body on him. I don't know. It was just terrible.
I mean, there was one play where he just ran literally right into the paint, and everybody is just out on the 3-point line.
Exactly. They just looked confused.
All alone.
They had no idea what they were doing.
And like Justin said, I mean, I know these guys are like, I can never do what they do and everything, but how the hell do you get confused on what you're supposed to do on the last play of the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
I know. And then the last play of the game in the first overtime, I don't know what the hell that was. First of all, if you're Joe Mazzulla, I know you like them to play through it. I know you like that happening. Call your fucking timeouts, dude. First of all, at the end of the first overtime, you should have called a timeout right before the last second shot, because Jaylen Brown ended up dribbling the ball out and left Tatum like 3 seconds to try to do something, and he missed the floater, which he easily should have made, by the way. It was a pretty wide open floater he should have made. And then in the second overtime, again, you don't call a timeout right away. You dribble the ball out, and you only have 10 seconds left to try to make a play. And it just felt like, I don't know, it just felt like the Celtics didn't even try in this game, and it was extremely frustrating. I don't know what to say about it. There's not much that I can say that hasn't already been said. The Celtics need to get their shit together, because at this point they're very quickly going to fall off, and having no momentum going into the playoffs is not a very good thing. So I don't know. They got to get their shit together.
I think my finger is on the panic button, but it hasn't fully pressed yet. Right? Like, I don't think I'm panicking. I just want them to wake up. It just feels like they've fallen asleep. Like, it feels like they're bored.
Once they wake up,
I know this is the end of the season. The biggest thing that you're worried about is the playoffs. But if you have to get to the playoffs beforehand, that means having to finish out the regular season strong. And it's not like they haven't finished the regular season strong before. They just did it last year. I don't know. Maybe the fact Malcolm Brogdon was out was something. I don't know.
I don't know. It's like
Robert Williams being out. I don't think that made a big deal either.
it's just a frustrating loss.
I think what I might be happening. I don't know what's happening, right? I don't think they're lost the locker room. I don't think it's any of that. If I were to put my best guess on what this team is, what's going on with this team right now, it's that they're disinterested in these games. You're 15 games from the playoffs. You have held the 1 seed through 63 games. You lost it 3 games ago. You've played phenomenal basketball. You had the All-Star break. You're in playoff basketball. I'm assuming that these guys feel like these games don't matter and that they're going to march into the playoffs, and with their roster and with their experience, they are going to coast through the East. No team in the West can stop them, and they'll hoist the NBA championship trophy. That's what I think they think right now. And that this game with 16 games left against a Knicks team at home doesn't matter. That's just not the case. These games are crucial to a playoff run. These games are what got the Celtics to the finals last year. And these games are what get the Celtics to the finals this year. I'm like I said, I'm not really worried. The Knicks have been playing some great basketball as of late. Blowing that lead really, really, really is upsetting to me. This was a game we could have put away if we played 5 minutes of consistent basketball. It kind of feels like when teams are going on runs, they're not just going on 8-0 runs, they're going on 17-0 runs, which is very December 2021-esque. If you guys remember, that was a big problem. Another thing I've noticed, it feels like someone new every night is going off. Whether it's Donovan Mitchell against the Cavs, whether it's Mikal Bridges against Nets, now it's Emmanuel Quickley against the Knicks. That also is a trait of December 2021 Boston Celtics. That one guy who you can't stop, you make no adjustments, and you just live with it. That can't also happen. I need to see that. I need to see this team. I thought our defense down the stretch was phenomenal. Our offense really killed us tonight, which we haven't said much this season. And we're still, like, we haven't had a stretch of basketball that's been bad. The Bucks have, right? Other teams have had bad stretches. This is our first bad stretch. It's coming at the wrong time. You can't do it in games 65 to 72, because if this is the bad stretch, then the playoffs could be a real shit show for the Celtics.
I mean, I'm hoping this is just like Ian, take it.
No, you're good, Jack.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping this is like the Knicks game last year, where it just, I mean, wakes us up. Like, I mean, the Nets game should have done that, but if that didn't, this one better.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things, in my opinion, right now where it feels like after every loss, because after the All-Star break, we've had so many of these tough losses. And it's one of those things where it's like, it feels like every game it's this is the game that's going to wake them up. This is the game that's going to wake them up.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the game that's going to wake them up. At what point do the Celtics actually wake up? I don't know what they're doing different from the beginning of the season last year, or like the beginning of the season this season. Like, what is so different from then to now that the Celtics just are completely forgetting how to play basketball? It's just
body language. Like, Tatum's body language was terrible tonight. Like, it looks like he's disinterested. It doesn't, like, how many times have we seen him in? Do you guys remember last year against Brooklyn at home? It was the game Tatum, I think he went for 52, 51 at the Garden. From the jump, he was screaming in the crowd, yelling and one, flexing, clamping up on D. It's that energy, right? I know it's like you might look at it and think it's a little extra, right? But it's that intensity that the best player on the court has to bring every single day, every single game. You have to. He hasn't brought that. His body, he won All-Star Game MVP, and his body language since then has been screw this. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's tired. He had a great game a couple nights ago. He put up 42 against Cleveland on an extremely efficient shooting performance. But every other game has been, he came up big against Philly with that one shot. but every other game has been just miserable, like miserable. I look at how the Celtics played tonight, and I point the finger at Jason Tatum as to why the Celtics lost this game. And there hasn't been many of those games. 6 of 7, 17 threes. Are you serious? I mean, at what point are you just saying, like, I don't care if it goes in, great. If I miss it, all right, so what?
Like, all right, I think another problem that I'm seeing, and like, it just feels like one of those things where it's like, it feels like they're too old to have to continuously be motivated. Like, it feels like we've done this so many years now. Ever since, like, the 2018-19 season when Kyrie came back, it just feels like there's always this conversation where it's like, oh, we have to continue motivating them. We have to continuously keep them engaged. At what point do they just turn it around and say, oh, like, I don't know at what point do they just continuously be engaged the entire time. Like, I don't know how they get to that point. Like, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, we've been saying all season we want the revenge for the finals, but you're not going to get to the finals if you keep playing this way. And it's extremely frustrating, and it feels like nobody cares. And, I mean, I love Joe Mazzulla as well. It's just his post-game press conferences are starting to piss me off a little bit with the way that we lose these games. And he's, like, nonchalantly answering these questions like, Joe, I know, you're not great with the media and you don't really want to talk to him like that, but, like, try to say something. Ime, I hate to compare it to Ime all the time, but Ime, like, he would talk shit about the players in the media, and it worked from time to time.
So
it's one of those things where it's just like, I'm just frustrated with everything because it feels like a nonchalant attitude is just going throughout the entire team, and it's just annoying.
So Joe was asked what his level of concern over the timing of Celtics struggle coming late in the season. He said 0. One-word response, classic Joe. So, like,
dude, like,
how
is that 0?
But that doesn't help anybody else.
I think, like, as we got to try to see the positive side of this, right? And you might ask, there isn't a lot, but we've only dropped 2 games in a row, right? Like, we've only slipped twice. They've been bad losses. I think that's really, like, what's weighing in on us right now, because, like, I'm sitting there, I'm watching this game, and I know exactly what's happening, right? The Knicks tie the game. I'm like, all right, well, they're going to go up by 10. They go up by 10. All right. Well, the Celtics will come back and they'll make this game a game. They make it a game and they drop it in overtime. We've seen this before. End of the day, the Celtics are still losers of 2. Mazzulla has still led this team to 45 wins and 20 losses, which is a pretty damn good record. Tatum has been playing really, really well all season long. He's hitting a slump. We need him to get out of the slump faster than remember, he didn't have that start of the season slump this year, guys, right? Usually he has that little November where he just is terrible. December rolls around, you're like, oh, wow, this guy, he's picking it up. February comes around, you're like, oh, my God, this guy's crazy. And then March would hit, and you're like, all right, let's get to the playoffs rolling. This year, March is hitting. He looks tired, right? Like, we just have to pump the brakes. I think we can't overreact entirely as much as I want to, as much as frustrating as this effing fucking game was. Like, you just have to, I think, realize we're still only a game and a half back from Milwaukee. We have another matchup against Milwaukee coming. Still the 2 seed, right? We should only get healthier. Obviously, Rob's going to miss a week, but, like, as bad as tonight was, the Celtics are still sitting pretty. And I don't think we've seen enough to worry that I think this team still wants to win the championship and still wants that finals appearance and still wants that revenge. So, like, until we see completely otherwise, I say let's think let's look at this with, like, let's find the positives out of this. Let's be a little bit optimistic.
I don't know. I'm not saying it's hard to be optimistic about this team because they still have 45 wins. They're still second in the East. There's not much to talk. Like, it's not one of those things where it's like, it's not like we're fighting for a play-in spot or something like that. So, like, these reactions, we might be blowing out of the proportion with these reactions sometimes. But it's one of those things where I think it's just because we've seen how good this team can be. We've seen the highest of highs with how this team can play this season, and it just feels like, for
And
one
now we're
reason or
seeing the
another,
lowest of lows.
we're seeing the lowest of
Yeah,
lows, and
yeah.
it's happening at probably the worst possible time. And I don't know. It's just rough. It's rough to see, and every single team goes through it at some point or another. It's just the Celtics are doing it at a time where they kind of shouldn't be doing it. So it's one of those things where, I don't know. It's just frustrating overall, but it's only a 2-game losing streak. They're still second in the East. Let's just hope they can pull it together. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's really not much else to say. I mean, we're gonna be right back at it tomorrow night on Cleveland, and we're gonna hopefully be sitting in the.
Hey, guess what? Maybe this is the game where the Celtics turn it around and they're able to.
I mean, it's they usually play these good teams well, and then they come back against these shitty teams that they should beat by 20, 15, and they lose. I don't know what it is. Like you said, I think it was Ian, or I don't know who said it, but it's very clear they have an on-off switch to just how hard they want to play, and I don't know. It is very frustrating.
I mean, yeah, it's like it's just coming at a bad time, especially with Milwaukee hitting that 16-game streak. Like, think about it like this, guys. Milwaukee is winners of 17 of their last 18. The Celtics are playing some poor basketball, and we are still only a game and a half back. That says something. Are we playing poorly? Absolutely. Body language has been bad. Absolutely. Mazzulla doesn't like to freaking use his timeouts. Absolutely. However, we're still only a game and a half back. We still play the Bucks. I have all my faith in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to get this ship back on track. I think they will. And I'm not going to press the panic button just yet. I'm going to keep that big red button on my desk closed. I'm not opening and pressing it yet. When I do, I will take it with my chest. I'm not there yet. I still think this Celtics team can turn it around and grab that 1 seed. I still think we can do it.
All right. I don't think I'm there pushing the panic button yet. I have my hand hovering over the case to open it up. I feel like I haven't opened it. Yeah. I have my hand hovering over the case.
That's
just
fair.
To figure it out.
That's fair. Yeah. However, like I said, guys, we will be back at it tomorrow night. Celtics post-game live following the Celtics and Cavs matchup in Cleveland. Tip off at 7, so a little bit earlier post-game show. Hopefully that one doesn't go into double overtime. Hopefully the Celtics win. Hopefully the vibes are a little bit better. Knicks take down Boston 131-129 following a double overtime battle at the Garden. Jason Tatum led all scorers with 40 points and 11 rebounds despite a poor shooting night from the three-point line. JB, 29 points, and along with Al Horford's big-time 20-point double-double to help the C's just narrowly lose to the Knicks tonight.
Hang on. One more thing. I didn't hear your opinion. Do you think it was right for Tatum to pass that ball to Al at the end of the second overtime?
I like that shot. I like that shot.
I like it too.
I like that shot. Yeah. Al was shooting the best. Al was opening the corner. Defense had eyes on Tatum. I like that pass.
Okay. I thought that was going in. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. But killer loss. Thanks to Jack so much for being on the show. Who knows? He might be back in the future. Who knows?
We'll see.
Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. Like I said, I'm Rob. Next to me is Ian. Below me is my boy Jack. Justin had to dip